zoom in on my hand real fast. Start over here. And then up. You know what this is?
Is it a reverse tattoo?
No, it's the code for 12% off of our store for our anniversary for the next 12 days. April 1st to April 12th. You know what else it is? Come on.
Did it go on me?
No.
My brain.
Yeah.
Got rocked.
It's time for
You
the
are.
patch.
We were almost no one here.
Nailed
We had
it.
30 seconds out. It was just me.
Hey.
And I was choking on a Diet Coke. So it
Enjoy
would have been a
that
zero
brand new-
talking.
It's because I was
Brand
looking
new
for a
no
bottle
video.
opener and I never found one.
Oh, really? Enjoy that brand new news story that's just posted.
Nice. Well, welcome to the patch, brought to you today by Dollar Shave Club and Trunk Club.
Yes.
It's a very club day.
And they're there.
There they are.
pop up.
I'm going to flip the thing over and remember it this time. Today, I promise we'll probably actually talk about some form of gaming news.
You think?
We had a special one last time. Everybody left,
Special.
except for
Wow.
Meg. Meg was here.
Well, I was here, but sorry, this is why you're not supposed to eat. I was here, but Michael was standing here talking to you and Jeff, and he
Yeah.
was like, "So I guess you guys are gonna start the patch." And I was like, "Michael, you can be on it if you want." He's like, "No, I don't want." Okay. You guys were having a good rapport. Why not?
So yeah, it went a little off the rails
was
in terms
great.
of it. It was April
Well,
Fool's,
it
so
was
it worked
great,
fine.
except for you guys talked about vomit and diarrhea a lot more than I
Look,
thought.
it's a parenting thing.
It is.
Once it was me and Jeff having
not to have
parent
children.
talk. It happens.
That's true.
When you have a kid, there's vomit and diarrhea to be dealt with.
I feel like I deal with enough
Ew.
poop just having a cat and a dog. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I'm all
they're,
set.
they're like training wheels, right?
Oh yeah.
Look, we've already gone back down that route. Let's steer it back to gaming. How are you guys? Welcome back.
Diarrhea is so. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, there's this trendy game right now
It's
called Diarrhea.
Diarrhea simulator.
That's Mexican food?
Digestive tract simulator.
There you go. Actually, now it's funny. There is a game that simulates flying through the brain. It's an Oculus game, and you zap like little problematic neurons. It's a very short experience.
It's like the Magic School Bus, the video game.
Sure.
Do you remember the Magic School Bus?
Man, how I remember the Magic School Bus. I'm totally of that generation.
Aww.
I like the
I did
idea
that-
of
what did I do that
Inner
today
Space,
with?
the video game.
And yeah, that would be a good one.
Do you remember
fun.
Magic School Bus? Damn it!
You're too young.
I tried to bring up Wienerville today, and I also got a bunch of blank stares.
Somebody knew what it was. Not
Maybe Cole. Cole's a fellow
There you
babe.
go.
There it
All
is.
you young people.
Well, we're going to talk about some news for once.
Yes.
That's cool.
Okay.
Got any?
Well, let me bring up. We made a
How
whole
about-
list because you guys
We
like
did.
left us some extra stuff.
We had actually last week was a really slow news week anyway, so that kind of worked out for us. What have you guys been playing?
Well,
Let's
honestly,
maybe
like
start with that.
it's kind of that time of year. It's just sort of
Yeah.
a slow period because everyone is. It's like I feel like everyone's in saving mode now, and they're just hoarding everything until E3.
And
the
no-
fact that we
Wow.
had like the big announcement for the new Deus Ex game is actually a big surprise.
And nobody especially last week, nobody wants to announce anything the week of April Fools,
No.
except for
No.
us. I mean, we do it all the time, but
Hey, we released a new app.
we did.
But that was a legit
not-
app.
It
Yeah.
was.
It's not an April Fool's.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a real thing.
It's real.
Legit. Maybe strong words.
It
But-
is. It is an app.
It's a tangible product, except
Shaft
it's
shot.
Chef shots.
data.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
What are you guys playing lately?
Well, I mean, we all played Limbo.
We did.
There's been a little bit of Far Cry 4.
Really? Why Far Cry 4?
Bernie was just getting into it, and we've got some co-op stuff to do. Bernie's been through a sort of weird phase lately. He goes through these between games, like in game drafts, where he gets really concerned that he doesn't like games anymore. Like he just gets really worried because he'll like play, a game here or there, and then he just like he doesn't really get sucked into it. The only thing he'd been playing for a while was Destiny, and that was only because his youngest Teddy really wanted to play it, so he's playing with him, and so he finally got into Far Cry 4, so that's been like all over the house constantly. It's the open world and the collecting, and then there's some co-op stuff because you know how he is about his achievements. So that's been going on. I played. After last week's game club, I went back and I finished the Cat Lady. I'm trying to get all the endings. And I don't know why I picked that one to go ahead and torture myself with a whole bunch of times, but I did.
There was a lot of, I was surprised actually looking at the Cat Lady comments to get the game suggestions for today's game club, how much love for that. People really love that game.
Look, man, it's got stuff to say, and it's really unique.
It is very unique.
But lest we turn into the
Rehash.
game club,
Right.
the rehash. Yeah, so I played a bit of that. I'm also trying to like hoard up a whole bunch of mobile titles because I'm traveling next week.
Oh.
So I've got like I'm trying to like get a whole bunch of 3DS games together and figure out like gonna get some stuff on my phone, gonna get some stuff on my laptop. So like if something dies, like I've got fail safes. Do you guys do that? Do you just completely over prepare if you have to travel? Make sure that you've got something everywhere. You can't be bored for a minute.
It's
guys.
that I have that. Well, like if I over prepare, then I fall asleep on the plane and like sleep the whole flight. And if I don't prepare, then that's like the flight where I can't sleep for some reason. I'm one of those people. I went back and I 100%ed.
Don't say Towerfall, by the way, because the last 3 times you've been on, it's been Towerfall.
You I haven't played Towerfall actually in a couple
good.
weeks.
Can you 100% Towerfall? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
There's achievements,
Yeah.
like trophies. Valiant Hearts. I went back and got everything in
Okay.
Valiant Hearts. And doing the healing game with Xbox One, because I played it originally on Steam, so much easier with a controller and so much more forgiving. Like I feel like on Steam, I hit it right on the button, and sometimes it would still like jostle me. But on Xbox One, I'd be like, "Oh, I screwed that one up. Oh, it took it. Okay."
No, it seemed like
Great.
anytime.
So easy.
Yeah, you couldn't hit it anytime before the pulse, but anytime after the pulse for a good window was fine.
Yeah, I
you
got that
got it.
achievement, no problem, for healing Carl for the final time.
Those like weird little tweaks between multi-platform games always get me.
Yeah, it's really strange. I didn't quite understand it, but I was pleasantly surprised since I was trying to get the achievements on that system, so
Yeah.
I'll take it. And I got all the collectibles, and I had some trouble with some of them spawning, which sucked. But other than that,
Spawning, they just
yeah,
weren't there?
they just weren't there. There's one in particular when you're Freddy and you're in a tank. There's one that spawns under your tank tread, and it just wasn't there for like 3. I had to like restart the level 3 times.
That's
and then
weird.
It was like, hey, there it is. It was awful.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, I did see the ones like when trying to get them, like if I tried to go through that area again and I'd already got them in that playthrough that they just weren't there.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any like not spawn. That was PC though. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
what have you been
and-
playing, Ryan?
I've had another like backwards kind of week. I've been playing lately. I've been playing a lot of Plants vs Zombies. I forgot. I always forget when I step away from that game.
I assume you're
how
talking
much
about Garden
fun it is.
Warfare?
Garden Warfare, yes. How much fun that game is, and I haven't played it since the original release. So all the DLCs I pretty much just skipped until now. And Jeff has been busily trying to get a couple last achievements in there, and so I jumped in.
You mean Millie has been trying to get
Well, Millie has been using, or Jeff has been using Millie as the occasional slave labor for getting some achievements. But
Right.
no, during the day he's in there trying, just going through, because there's one achievement to get a diamond from a treasure yeti. A treasure yeti being a random spawn in the 3rd wave. So you get it or you don't, and then once you get it, you can get 1 to 3 diamonds out of him, and you need 7. So there's little things you can do, like you will kill the zombie or kill the yeti, get as many diamonds as you can along the way, and then let something else on the map kill you before the wave ends, so you can do a team retry and then do him again because you'll get him 3 times.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still really annoying.
That sucks.
We've
Grindy.
Been doing it all day. We've seen the treasure zombie once.
Oh.
Treasure Yeti,
Yeti,
once.
Those kind of achievements I'm not as big a fan of because it's not
Yeah.
like that's not the you don't just go through and go down and be like, all right, I need to play in this certain way. It's like, no, it's roll the dice.
It's a healthy
You get it or you
dash
don't.
of luck, yeah. Which there's a couple of those in Garden Warfare. You also have a few achievements for, in pretty much the original game and in the subsequent DLCs, there have been achievements for planting or using some of the DLC specific cards. So you have to just
Like, you
keep
have
playing
to
the
get
sticker
it?
shop. No, they're not as bad.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah, I mean, it's like trading cards.
Okay,
how
fair
that
enough.
back-end system works. So you just have to spend in-game money.
Right.
I think you could spend out-of-game money, but
Sucks.
until you get the right ones, and then you plant them and you're done. So there's not too many of those. But I've been playing that, and then I've also been trying to finish Dying Light because I never finished that game. I loved it. The second half is a little bit of a drag. I mean, once you get through that, the first half is really quick paced, and then you get into the second area, and you're like, oh, okay, we're gonna do some more of this.
You're gonna get killed by Patrick for hitting your mic. Is what you're gonna do.
I didn't hit the mic. I hit behind
He's
it.
right above it. I heard him moan at you.
He's being a zombie. No, he's just getting into
Treasure
character.
Yeti. Patrick the Treasure Yeti. We've had a lot of Halo going on in our house. Gavin's getting into speedrunning Halo levels. He wants to get the achievement for like coming under par, but then also actually looking at speedrunning tactics. And he was showing me, it made me think of it when you're talking about the treasure yeti thing. There's one skull that only spawns. You have like a 1 in 7 chance of it spawning, even if you have to do all these specialized things and then you get there and it might not be there. I feel bad, but it makes me so happy when it's not there just because it's so funny to see him get like so pissed.
He sounds so miserable every day when he comes in and talks about it.
About Halo.
He's determined to get to 5,000 points, but that's not, he hasn't even started like the Lasso achievements, which are the worst. They're almost impossible.
But he has been playing, he played Lasso during Laser Team with Michael, so I think he feels prepared for that kind of stuff.
You are never prepared for Lasso. Do you know what Lasso is?
Tell me.
Lasso is...
I'm not sure. Do I want to know?
Oh, yeah.
It's legendary all skulls, basically.
Oh, okay.
All skulls on.
Yeah, he's been working on it, so I don't think it's too bad, but it is really funny to see, like he'll be so excited, oh, I hit the speedrunning trick, and then he'll be like, Meg, watch this trick, and I'll be like, okay, and he'll do it, and I'll be like, oh, it didn't go right, okay, hold on, and then he sets it back up, he's like, zooming in, and he's scooting, and then, oh, didn't do it right, hold on, I swear I got it. Really fun.
Well, that actually ties into some interesting new news, which is Halo.
Ooh, hey.
Hi, Jeff.
Am I late for the movie podcast?
Yeah.
You're about 4 months too late.
Halo 5 finally has a release date, which is actually last week.
Yes,
news,
October 27th.
Which they've had a couple promos now. There's the 2 versions of essentially the same teaser with.
Yeah, so that one's interesting.
Which they've built. So there's been the Nightfall series. I don't know if did you guys watch that yet?
Nope.
Yeah, well, and then they've also got there's the Nightfall, but then that was sort of the establishment of Locke.
Right.
And then they've also now got this radio drama thing going on. And then, so they've got a couple different things. They all seem to be centering around the idea of, like, propaganda and, you know, public, like, in-universe knowledge and that sort of stuff.
I like that people were pointing out in the comments of the video we did, because we covered the 2 trailers, in the Locke version where Locke is the aggressor and Chief is shot, there are details that don't match up. So people were saying in what they were extrapolating from it is that it's Locke retelling, like he's lying and saying he shot Chief when he really didn't, because the details, like he's not able to get the fine details exactly right, or it could be a hint of that. I think that would be really cool, as opposed to just being like, they fucked up and put the wrong thing.
Well,
like,
I'm sure
whoops.
I mean, I would be willing to bet that it's not an oops. So there's some
You never know,
deliberateness to
though.
it. It's possible.
There are times when, like we talked about with Grand Theft Auto 5, like, well, that could just be a checkbox that never got checked. That could happen.
It could be,
could.
although, like, then they would just, if they really just wanted to do a character swap, they would just do a character swap and leave all the other assets.
Well, right, but this is like a difference between like the heads-up display and like it's a gun detail. I believe it's like the display shows a battle rifle, but there's actually, he's holding something else. Can't quite remember what it is off the top of my head, but it did seem like something that could have been believable as an oops, but also totally could have been not an oops. I don't think it is an oops, but I just love the idea of someone being like, shit, oh yeah, no, we totally meant to do that. Like, oh, that's like,
You caught it.
so in the story.
Somebody call the I Love Bees guys. We need help.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, a friend of mine was one of the I Love Bees actresses.
Really?
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. I would be terrible at stuff like that because they had actors who they talked to on the phone. I feel like I would just laugh or break character or be like, shit, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Like I would screw it up. I'd be the one person who would be like, yeah, I got this actress and she laughed at me. I don't know what happened.
I mean, for those out there that don't know what's an I Love Bees.
Oh, I Love Bees was an ARG surrounding Halo 2's release. So,
okay.
You didn't know I Love Bees?
I guess,
I'm
no, I
surprised
don't
that you
remember
didn't
that at
know
all.
I Love Bees.
It was, I'd say, like, it was arguably still probably, like, the biggest and best ARG for a video game to date. So, I mean, it was, like, it was so convoluted. There was so much to it. There was people calling in and actually talking to actors who were playing characters and getting information, and there was stuff hidden in so, like, all these different websites in the, like, in the back end or in the code or in the data, or just something would happen, or there were these time things. It was really, really elaborate. And so, of course, it spawned this like cultish, just fanatic group of people who were trying to solve everything and all working together. It's really cool when you see that happen. And then it spawned like a whole wave of sort of like half-assed ARGs to try to like, you know, recapture that magic. But like nothing, I don't think anything ever came close to I Love Bees.
People were so into I Love Bees, they figured out using the stuff from the back end of the websites and everything else, times and coordinates that led them to payphones.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy in Florida who stood next to a payphone to wait for his scheduled call during a hurricane.
Wow.
Like, that's how driven people were.
Oh my gosh.
Because you could only get you couldn't call the people, you had to wait for them to call you, and like he didn't want to miss it. So don't do that, by the way.
I like the
PSA.
idea they're
Just
just
miss
being
the
like,
call.
That's cool.
There was actually a game way back in the day. It was an EA game. It was supposed to be kind of an ARG MMO thing. It was called Majestic or something like that. Yeah, it lasted like, I'm pretty sure like by the time the boxes got to the stores, it was dead. It
Dead on
went
arrival.
absolutely nowhere.
Yep.
No one cared. No one used it. No one talked about it.
That's
I never heard anything beyond like, it's going to be this great, super cool thing. And then
That's how I feel about Ingress. Are you either of you familiar with Ingress? It's like a Google ARG, which you'd think like Google knows how to do an ARG, and there's all this stuff. And I actually, when it first started, I tried really hard to get into it. But there were restrictions. You had to have an Android phone at one point, like the very beginning, or you couldn't see like the Ingress towers, and then there was already too much information, so you had to like be really committed. And it's still going on. It's been probably a year and a half or 2 years, and it's still going on, and people still tweet me about it from time to time, but I'm like, is anybody playing Ingress? Anyone? I don't know.
Somehow, I think I miss ARGs. They somehow completely escape my notice.
they're one of those things that if you're not aware of it and participating in it as it happens, it's no use to you.
There's
Like
such a time factor.
you can't just go back a couple years later and be
Yeah.
like, oh, really like to like play this ARG and get that experience. You just can't. It's one of those things that happens like in a hive in real time, and then it's done.
Right, and you have to be committed.
So it's like
you
a
can't be
pop-up
like
game.
half-assed.
Yeah. Pop-up game. That's actually a really good way of putting it. That's not in a game.
Right. Well,
A pop-up
well,
non-game.
it's sort of a
It's a
metagame
pop-up
to itself.
experience.
It sounds
Right,
like.
pop-up
Yeah.
experience.
Experience it now or never.
Have you guys seen those weird, this is tech related at least, those weird billboards around Austin that are like book an experience with so-and-so?
Yeah.
What is that? Because it
What?
looks like a prostitution thing.
No, it's not. I think it's like some sort of theoretically motivational thing, but probably
Motivational experience.
It's like an app. It says it's available in the app
it's
store.
like get the app, but I think it's supposed to be like it's for some local motivational speaker who may or may not be legit.
Interesting, because it was like book an experience with Jessica, and I'm like, is Jessica a stripper? What does Jessica do?
Right, because there's ones like that's got like the dancer.
Yeah.
It's like book an experience, and I was like, is this dance lessons? What
Right.
is this?
What is this thing? I wanted to know.
It's
Yeah.
whatever you want it to be.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
customize the experience
It's
to
your
your own
experience.
needs.
Right.
No, that's it's one of those things where advertising gets so vague that you're like,
I don't know what you're
do
selling
I want
me.
that? Maybe I want that.
There's a new trailer out today for the newly announced Deus Ex
Yes.
Mankind Divided.
Yeah.
And we're to the point with a lot of these like announcement trailers now where it's not like the game's not that's not the way the game is going to look or the way it's going to play.
No.
At best you'd be like, "Oh, he's got like a taser arm." That's a
He
thing
did
that
have
you
a
might get. It's
taser
like
arm.
you can go through there's a couple of checklists like as far as what things might appear, but there's so much with it. I'm like, I don't know. Is this just supposed to be like vision? Is this supposed to let me know what sort of stuff we're going to be doing? Because a lot of these,
Remote arm is awesome.
'cause a lot of these games now are so like they're so ambitious with these trailers, and then I don't know what they're going to be like. I guess I'm feeling a little bit. I'm holding back a little bit after things like Watch Dogs, where it's like it's going to be this amazing, world open thing, and then they come out and it's like, oh, it's just a game.
Well, I mean, I don't think they would show that without that being a feature in the game. That looks like, hey, look at this cool thing he can do, and you'll be able to do it too.
Right.
But we were just talking about ARGs, and somehow did make the segue into Deus Ex, which is they had what I would call failed ARG.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that was a oopsie.
It was a big oopsie. So yesterday, the day before yesterday, they started a Twitch stream called Can't Stop Progress. But then in like non-ARG fashion, they immediately they were like, check out our Twitch stream. And it's like, you're not supposed to own it yet, Square. Chill out.
Let them figure it out.
Yeah. So then Square Enix like teases a stream, and they're like, it's going to be an announcement.
Teases.
Yeah. It like full on blasts
Like-
out the stream.
It's like, oh, we're not getting enough concurrence because nobody knows what this is. All right, time for Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it official.
So and it was like this guy, and you got to vote on how he reacted to situations, and you could keep making decisions until this morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. But meanwhile, all of the Game Informer coverage leaked on NeoGAF, or the screens that were from it, and then Game Informer was like, shit, our exclusivity is going out the window, and then they were like, go live a day early with our coverage. So they put up their coverage, then they tried to put the trailer up on their website, on their YouTube, and it was taken down, and like, it was just this whole clusterfuck, and meanwhile, like, the actor they hired in
Who's,
their
like, still in his
Twitch
box,
stream was like still in the box, like, he's probably got an earpiece in where they're like, shit, and he still had to keep going for like 12 more hours.
It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong.
I like
Burn
it
the
there.
box, burn it.
You can't come out.
I like the idea that they just didn't tell him.
Yeah, he got out,
So
and
he's
they
like
were
in the
like,
box,
great
and
job.
they're just like going. He's like, just fires everyone. He's like, what happened?
He was in the box shaking and being accosted, and people already knew about the game. Like, nobody cared about him anymore because they were like, Deus Ex, we'll catch the trailer tomorrow.
Wait, so he was in a box?
Till this morning.
Yeah,
it was
it looked like it
was it
was like
David Blaine? What was it?
No, I mean it looked like a storage unit or
Okay.
or a garage or something, just with like cameras set up, and there's like a blanket here, and then for whatever reason he was sitting there with like a staff.
Yeah, like a weird rod.
And so he like there's this whole thing
So there's
going
a
on.
guy
It's just
alone in a room playing with his rod.
Right, exactly.
And then Twitch
Hooing.
got to tell him what to do. So
And
it's
then
like
Twitch
plays
could-
lonely guy.
Right, exactly. They'd be like two people came to like interrogate him. They're like, "Do you want him to stand his ground?" And they were like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You chose stand your ground." And then he got like punched in the face, and it was like, "Good job, we got him punched in the face, guys. Good job."
I mean, it was like littler stuff too. Like you could, the Twitch chat could like change the camera angle in the whole thing. So it was very interactive. It's actually cool.
It was a great
That's a
idea.
great
It went
idea.
So wrong.
But yeah, again, it just sort of it didn't go that well. And it's also, I mean, that's like a mini arc. That's like
Right, it
I
wasn't
expect him
real.
to be over like weeks.
Uh-huh.
I'm
For
just looking up
sure.
here. This the I Love Bees. It says 250,000 people viewed the website, and then, but then like over the course of 3 months, 3 million people came to it, and then there were like thousands of people actually participating.
Wow.
Back in Halo 2 day, like
Yeah.
before Halo 2. And then people got invited to play it early. It was like the payoff of the ARG. But I want to know what happened between Game Informer and Square Enix. I want to see the emails that
there a
went back and
throwdown?
forth when Game Informer was like, "Fuck it, let's go." Like,
You're ruining
Square
everything.
Enix is like, "You look at this man in this box that you betrayed."
I get it though. It's it's a hard thing. So it leaks
Yeah.
on NeoGAF. The announcement, the screenshots, everyone knew what it was. And so as Game Informer, you've got this exclusive. You're under an embargo. Do you keep the embargo and lose any edge that you have? Because no other outlet is under that embargo.
Right.
They all get the leak and they'll be like, "Oh, NeoGAF has leaked, like this thing," and they all get to report on it, and you're just sitting there, like, with your thumb up your butt, going,
Which I'm sure you paid a ton of money for
cozy.
that
Uh-huh.
exclusivity. Like, I'm sure Game Informer would have out tons of money. And I get it from their end, too. Like, people are talking about it in NeoGAF. People are Googling it right now. Now is the time to put up your coverage. But on the other end, Square Enix is probably pissed at you now.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that that Square Enix would at some point have had to just go, okay, it is out. Let's control the story by putting out the information as we want it to.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, it's either let NeoGAF have at it, or
Which they did.
right,
I mean, we're already in
or
process
let's get this out there in the way that we want to get it out there.
Although I thought it was interesting that I went back to look at NeoGAF, although I didn't get to look as thoroughly, but what I gathered from it was somebody had teased they had a leak from Game Informer. So it seemed like Game Informer's leak and not Square Enix's leak.
The plot thickens.
Yeah, so someone took it from Game Informer is what I got from the thread that I was looking at on NeoGAF, was that somebody had teased like that they had a leak from Game Informer.
So Game Informer got mad at themselves, like, "You're leaking everything. We're leaking everything."
Yay, everyone come to our website.
Well, let me read this real quick.
Okay.
If you listen to the show, you've heard me talking about DollarShaveClub.com. They deliver amazing razors for a few bucks. The first time I heard about the club, I was skeptical. I didn't think a razor that only costs a few bucks could deliver a great shave. It seemed too good to be true. But then I tried them, and I got the most amazing shave I've had in years. My skin felt like silk. Ah, that's the silk sound.
Creepiest silk sound ever.
Silk's it's a fabric for a lot of people. And if you're still using those bags of plastic disposables, the ones that people steal from the gym, stop. DollarShaveClub.com razors cost less than those flimsy plastic things, and the shave doesn't even compare. I can't have a bunch of nicks and cuts on my face. I'm on video for work a lot, like right now. And if anyone needs a high-quality razor, it's me. Don't be fooled by the affordable price. The razors are legit, and you will never go back. Plus, they've got Dr. Carver shave butter. Which
Oh,
Meg's
love
a
that
big,
stuff.
You give me
Just
your best.
opened my new tube.
Give me your best silk sound for that one. There you go.
What?
If you're still using old-fashioned shave foam, you've missed out. Try dollarshaveclub.com/patch today. That's dollarshaveclub.com/patch.
They also have wipes that make your butt tingle.
Hey!
Gus is
They're
a
really
big
good.
fan of those.
Yeah.
He likes
They're
it.
not for ladies, but
Why not?
nobody needs a tingly bahoo-hoo. Nobody needs it.
Oh, I see there's bleed
what?
over.
Your
Okay.
tingly bajingo is not. You can go to the doctor.
You're saying
if
it like it's a
tingles.
bad thing. Come on.
I
That
guess
sounds like
if
a
I'm gonna-
fringe benefit to me.
Sounds like, ooh.
You've just opened
Yeah,
a secondary market
exactly.
for this product.
Exactly the face you make when you're done. You wipe and you're like, ooh, 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 ooh. Nobody wants that.
Like minty fresh isn't always appropriate.
Exactly. Exactly.
Someone on Twitter is saying that they tried really hard to get into Ingress, but there were not enough towers to get anywhere, like near where they were.
There are two. What I remember, there are two sides, and you have to physically drive to the tower if it's an enemy tower, and like stand there with your phone to like turn it over to your side's tower. But
So
you
it's like
couldn't
CTF,
see them.
sort of?
Yeah, but you couldn't see them if you didn't have an Android device, and I had an iPhone.
Right.
So, pretty big barrier to entry there.
Sounds like a marketing project for Android. And someone else is saying here that the Secret World had a really long-running ARG that went for years, leading to the reveal of King's Mouth.
Wow.
That's a lot of dedication to an ARG. Would you ever play something that you're like, I think this is a thing? Maybe I'm fucking crazy, and like, am I like that conspiracy theory guy who always like thinks there's a thing, and then it turns out there's no thing?
I wonder if there's ever been one where there was just like an ARG that wasn't. Like,
It wasn't.
there
Well,
was a whole-
because I Love Bees started with a bee website that was like, somebody hacked into my code. But what if it really was just a bee website where somebody hacked into the code?
I do remember the bees now. That
Okay.
finally linked it up to
Yeah,
me.
it
The
was like a
person with the
woman
bee website.
who
Yeah.
had
Got
a
it.
bee website who couldn't figure out why her code was going all weird.
What if it turns out the Roswell thing was really just a really long play ARG? Hey, turns out we have this special balloon game coming out. All these people ran with aliens. I don't know where that came
Roswell
from.
edition. I love that. No, I feel like there's a what is his name? Not Michael Keaton. Something Douglas. Michael Douglas. Ha! I got
Game?
it. The game. I would be afraid of that movie happening to me. I'd be like, it's an ARG. Wait, I'm actually fucking crazy. Oh, it was a game. Like,
No,
but
I've
not
heard
getting to that part.
I mean, there's always the urban myth that is actually a real thing.
really? I've never heard that.
Really?
I just saw the movie for the first time like a year
Let
ago.
me see if I can find out.
You mean there's like a club of people that create those sort of
Of like
experiences?
rich people that are just bored with their lives and then they get told they're crazy.
My Google search results are gonna be so messed up because I'm just going things like, "Is the game real?"
Oh,
I
well,
know
the
there was
game
a-
is also a sleazy pickup.
I'm having. Hold on, maybe if I put it over here.
There you go. Wave it
Ah.
around. There was an episode of Castle where that
Maybe let's see.
happened.
Internet works over here.
Over there?
Do you call him Nathan Fillion or do you call him Castle? Because my mom calls him Castle whenever she talks about
Well, if
him.
I'm talking, it depends on the context.
Oh no, she calls him Castle all the time. I
I
saw
mean, if I
Castle
had-
in a movie today.
I think I would call him Nathan. Whenever I'm
Nathan
talking
Fillion.
about being in, he's in Destiny.
It just keeps bringing me up
and
search
Castle?
results about a
ODST.
rapper.
Of the game.
All right,
A rapper.
Apparently, there's
His name is the game.
Apparently, there's a rapper called the Game.
but does he have?
he is
game?
real.
Yeah.
He is real.
You
it-
can't
it
question
says
his
here-
reality.
It says here that he's real.
I'm glad that there was an answer to that in case anyone went looking. Is this guy real or is he not real?
What if Britney Spears in like 2009?
Uh-huh.
She was in the game and she thought
And
like
that-
she paid for that experience and that was part of her going crazy.
And
was
then the
other people
shaving
screwing
and
with
everything.
her. It's all solved. We solved it, guys.
You really did. He
We
answered
can go
because
home.
I saw her on the cover of some magazine in the grocery store the other day. She looks normal again.
Wait, who?
Nah, she looks dead in
Britney
the
Spears.
eyes.
Really?
She looks fully dead in the eyes.
Fully dead?
Fully dead in the eyes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly
Allegedly.
dead in the eyes.
That's what I learned from the last patch.
just
Is
keep
you have to
saying
say allegedly
allegedly.
and you're fine with
I think we
everything.
just solved Britney's 2009 crisis. I feel good about that.
We talked about games and we saved that, and we're only halfway through. We're on a
Doing
roll.
so good. What is it? Global warming? Bring it on. We'll solve it today.
Well, I do want to jump back for a second though to the Deus Ex. What do we want to call it? Teaser?
Mankind Divided. Oh,
I mean,
thought
yeah,
you
I'd
were
call it a
talking
teaser trailer.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
it's a fully
it's-
rendered CGI
Yeah, it's not a gameplay trailer, that's for sure. Maybe we
but-
could call it a vision trailer.
There
An
you go.
announcement.
It's like
Yeah,
a
like
vision
an
board,
announcement.
only for a video game.
Yeah.
The graphics in it were not so wild that I wouldn't believe that it's not close to something that you could do in Unreal Engine, at least right now, which I know they're probably not using, but it's really interesting and fun to watch graphic level of games come up to the point where you don't necessarily know if you're watching a CGI rendered trailer or something that's in-game. I don't think it was completely off the mark for what we might see at a playable level. Of course, it's going to be first person, so it's
Right, so everything looks
Very different.
different from the perspective. That's one thing that always gets me about gameplay trailers, when it's like gameplay, but all the cameras are in different places. I'm like, no, that's like an in-engine trailer. Come on.
That's fair, yeah.
Fair enough.
In-engine is very different than necessarily navigable. But lately, I've downloaded, now that Unreal Engine's free for anybody to play with, you can't use it without paying some licensing fees. But I've started playing around with it, and the kind of things that the engine itself can do right now, even at a playable level, granted this is on PC, is just pretty remarkable. I mean, there are full reflection maps going on. There's, it's to the point where I would start considering, if I was doing something in like an animated short, using it as a rendering engine instead of trying to do a fully rendered ray trace or something
cool.
on middle ray. So I think the next few years on video games is going to get real pretty, as if it wasn't already.
Do you think we'll get to that point where, do you think the graphics are going to go like this, where it's like, time and then they go up like just exponentially, or are we going to get to the point where it just plateaus?
Well, I mean, you hit that gulf of, or what's the
The
word?
uncanny valley.
The
Uncanny
uncanny valley. And then at a certain point, I think what's going to happen is we'll get to the point where it's like, oh, wow, this looks virtually indistinguishable from real life, and people will stop doing that. They'll have like a couple titles that are like that, but they'll back it off because you get to the point where you're like, I don't want this to look like real life. I
Well,
want it
that's
to look
true.
like a video game because I can feel, especially if you're doing a shooter or something like that, you don't
Right.
want to feel empathy while you're playing a shooter.
I was just gonna think, like, can you imagine a Grand Theft Auto where you like really bash someone's skull in? Like, I don't actually want to bash someone's skull in. I mean, I want it to look sort of realistic, so I can be
Yeah.
like, haha, I bashed him, but not actually bash someone's skull.
Yeah.
Some of the Far Cry 4 takedowns are
Pretty brutal.
beyond me. I'm like you grab this guy and like knife him in the neck, and he's like looking you in the eyes. He's like sinking to the ground dead. And I'm like,
Well,
I don't want that.
we talked about Limbo, where it's you can't see anything, and I'm still like, oh, no, why?
Bad things do happen to that little character though in Limbo.
I do like that. It seems increasing. There was that era of brown games for a while. Everything's
The Grays of
everything-
War.
Everything's brown. And then color started to be a thing. I actually really like that Plants vs Zombies is so colorful and so out there. And then there was Infamous Second Son with the all that color stuff. That was awesome. And I really like Sunset Overdrive for the same reason. It's just like it's crazy and it's a video game and it's really happy to be a video game. I like those.
I think Far Cry 4 is like that too. Actually, from what I've seen played, it's got some really cool poppy colors.
It does.
It
Yeah,
does,
it's got you go in the arena and it's got like powder and that's where you see where your ammo is. So there are these sort of fantastical elements that are really cool about the game. But then there's a couple of super realistic things that are making me sad.
Like a guy getting stabbed in the neck and staring you down.
I think it'd be interesting actually because once we reach that point where realistic is too easy, it's really going to make people work harder to create a unique style. So it's a lot of game companies are kind of narrowing down to a couple different engines just because they're good, robust engines that get very close to reality. And I think once we hit too close to reality, that just makes art way more attractive.
I think that's true. I think you look back now at games that came out on original Nintendo, and we're like, oh, this looked so cool. Or like N64, and we're like, this looks awesome, and they look like shit now. But now people go back and replicate that on purpose. Like, it is an art style now. What used to be considered like, oh, we're just trying to get through until we can have technology that can make it better. People are purposefully going back because there's that nostalgia there, and I think that will happen when people can make super realistic games. They're going to go back and make games with like that art style, like you said, like the retro.
Shovel
Remember?
Knight.
Yeah, exactly.
Hotline Miami.
Yeah, there's a ton.
That's the future.
I also, though, think that a lot of companies are narrowing down to a specific few engines because, frankly, games are getting so expensive to make.
That's true. Licensing an engine is way less development time than just purchasing one. Which, I mean, there was actually that news about Crytek and Amazon dropping a lot of money to
Yeah,
pick that engine up.
that's
which
crazy.
is, I mean, they had kind of started some game development in the works with their own, games they were going to put out for kind of mobile / the
only got the Fire TV, but that's that's like mobile level.
Well, I mean,
stuff.
a lot of those engines work on multiple levels. Again, I'm going back to what I've been playing with Unity and Unreal Engine. They're designed to work at both a mobile or a browser level as well as a full standalone game. So those engines support multiple platform development.
Yeah, Unity seems like the new hotness for that in particular. It's just saying like you want it on your phone? Do you want it on the PC and all the consoles? Yeah, we can do that. That's easy.
Do you want it with Oculus? Do you want it? Yeah, that's just a toggle now in both Unity and Unreal Engine. So I'm really looking forward to. That was the other thing that I started playing recently. I took the Oculus home again and bought Alien Isolation on the PC.
No.
How
Which
freaky is it?
No.
Is it so freaky?
I haven't gotten too far into it yet, so I haven't even encountered the alien yet. But so far, it's honestly one of the better Oculus experiences I've had, which is interesting in a game that wasn't really designed for it. Like, it's there. It was part of the engine that you just have to turn on. But some of the things don't work great, so things like post effects are weird. They render only in one eye, so you have to turn them off. Like,
Okay.
ambient occlusion is a post effect in that engine, so I only get it in the right eye. So everything looks really cool and shadowed
Nobody
in the right
likes
eye,
it
and the
when
left
you
eye
get
is
it in
just
your right eye.
flat, which makes your head. It took me a long time to figure out what that was too, because I was like, "What? Why does everything's hurts my?" Oh, I got it. Close one eye. There it is. There it is. Yeah. All right, makes sense now. So, but aside from that, once I turned that off, it's definitely really interesting, really immersive, and the scale of it is so interesting when you're moving around in an Oculus, where it just doesn't play the same on a flat screen, where you don't realize that those starships are so claustrophobic.
Ugh.
Like, it's really like, especially the one you start off on, when you're walking around in the Oculus, it feels like the ceiling is right there above your head, which is very appropriate to that sort of technology.
I read an interesting thing recently that a lot of people tend to get sick with VR. They get that motion sickness, and some people are starting to solve it by putting a nose down here, like
I
just
saw
like a slight
that.
impression of a nose, and that seems to fix it. It almost like it puts your brain going like, okay, nose here. This is how I like see things, and that's fixing that problem for a lot of people. Super weird.
Super strange. I wonder if it would fix it for me just because I still get motion sick, even with my nose being on my face. Like, just as a human being, I get motion sick. So I wonder if it would solve it or not.
Maybe.
don't
A lot of that seems to be driven by, are you in control of yourself in the game? And
Yeah. Watching Gavin play Alien Isolation is probably the closest I've come in a while to, that and that Static Calls My Name game. I've nearly vomited playing both of those for some reason. But having him control an Alien Isolation, I was like, I can't watch you anymore. It's going to make me vomit for some reason. I don't know why. It was very strange.
Well, that's actually one of the interesting things about the Vive.
Vive?
Vive?
The
Vive?
HTC
Vive?
Vive, Revive,
Yeah,
something.
Vive.
It's a thing.
That's one of the things they've been really setting themselves apart with, is that it's not designed as a seated experience necessarily. Everybody that's played with it. In fact, it was one of the guys that is working on Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. Do you know what that is?
No.
It was a game jam game. This is a great game, and
I
I'm
love
looking
game jam
forward to
games.
playing it.
That's a great name.
It started, yeah. This is what happens. So you have two players. It's a two-player system, or more you could have on the outside. But basically, one person's wearing the Oculus, and they're looking at a bomb. And the person outside the game has giant reams of paper.
I
yeah.
have heard this.
Okay.
I think did you mention this?
I may have at
previously?
some
Like
point.
they have to basically coordinate because one person can see
Yes.
documentation and they have to explain back and forth. It sounds like Space Team, the bomb diffusion game. sort of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it looks like it's really interesting. And yeah, the person on the outside, just to finish describing it, is sitting there with
Here
the
we go.
documentation, and they're just reading off like from a list of possibilities. Like, does the bomb have 3 wires or 4 wires? Is it a red wire or blue wire? Does it have this emblem or that emblem? And all that, dictates what you need to do to defuse the bomb. So it's all about communication and teamwork. But anyway, one of the guys that is working on that posted a video where he's describing his experience with that headset. And since it's more of a stand and walk aroundy device, and it's got the lighthouse controllers. Yeah, hey, you got to make hand moves. That's what it's all about. He said that as you stood and walk around, it actually projected a virtual wall into the space so that you wouldn't run into the real wall.
Oh,
Interesting.
cool.
Kind of very almost like
like
the
a
holodeck
warning.
in Star Trek, where it's like they would have the wall that you couldn't go past. But yeah, it would show up. So if you were walking too close to the physical walls of the room you were in, you knew that you would have to stop. So you stopped having to worry about that. You just could be immersed in the room, and you knew that if you got too close to the wall, you would be warned.
That's an interesting approach, since I know that, HoloLens seems to be taking more of an augmented reality approach for kind of the same reason. They're projecting things around the room, but they're leaving the glass open in a way. Right.
Yeah, and with certain people talking about that, they say it's not always as it's sometimes not as opaque as you'd like. In either direction. Sometimes it's too transparent, and sometimes it's not transparent enough.
Gotcha.
So that'll be a big hurdle for the more augmented reality headsets to take on.
I'll be impressed with the virtual reality wall when there's a virtual reality cat that shows up whenever your cat is
Underneath
beneath
your
your
feet.
feet.
You want the Cheshire? Oh, okay, I got you.
Yes, that says, "Uh-oh, don't trip over your damn cat."
You wanted to track everything in the room and
Yes,
project
I
it in
would.
there.
I would like that, actually.
Well,
I love that.
I'm sorry to say that Kinect has stopped selling its PC version, so that would been a tool that probably could have
Did
done that.
anybody notice?
No. Mm-mm.
There was
Me,
some
people like me that would use it for motion capture, maybe.
I
but-
enjoy Kinect.
there was some really cool stuff.
I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
own it.
I actually have gotten I've gotten so accustomed to it now that we've got, in the house, we've got a couple of Xboxes in different rooms because we're all trying to play multiplayer together. And one of them has Kinect and the other ones don't, because they're out hooked up to the treadmill, or like I've got one upstairs, like I've got a Nook where it's like I have a don't bug me Nook. It's like got set up with consoles, and that one doesn't. And so like I'll walk in, it'll be like, Xbox on, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll be like, Xbox, you're not listening. And then it takes me a little while to realize that it's because it's not under, or I'll, how like search for something or like launch something, and then I get mad at it because it doesn't. Cause
It's
just not hooked up.
exactly right. You get used to having it, and we have a problem with ours. That sometimes the Kinect will just die for like a week. It'll just like go on vacation.
Mine
and
started
then
doing
it'll
that, where it just
come
turns
back,
off.
and it'll be like, oh, Kinect's back. But for that week, I'm like, Xbox, go to damn it. Like, I'm like mad. Like, oh god, now I have to find the remote.
Right, because then I'm like,
Ugh.
I don't know how to navigate to it on the in the UI. I just want to see things.
Yes.
So it's almost like Kinect got a really bad rap last generation for a lot of very valid reasons. And I can see though why they forced the bundle with this, because they're like, no, the way we're gonna do this at this point, you need to experience it, because it's easy to be
Right.
like, Kinect, fuck off. Nobody wants this.
Well, there's now you can buy it without the
Right, but
Right,
now the
you
people
can.
who were going to be sold on it, like Ashley and I, are going to, if it's an
They won't
option
even
in the
try.
next one,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
now we're going to get it.
Yeah, which
Would you buy one if it was an independent piece of hardware right now,
Yes.
though? Like if it was like, okay, the Kinect's an extra $100.
Yes.
Really? You would
Yes.
invest another $100
Can I tell
just
you
to
how
talk
much
to it?
I love Dance Central? A lot.
Okay, so
A
you have a
lot.
game reason
I
that
will
you want to play it.
evacuate the dance floor so hard. I loved that game.
Dance Central is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it was great, and I haven't played it in probably a year. But if it were like just coming out, I was excited as hell to play that game, and I needed to connect for it.
Well, that's a good reason. Actually having a piece of software you want to use, as opposed to if you're just using it for control purposes, what's it worth to you then?
Still probably
Yeah.
pay $100.
Yeah?
For it.
Look how lazy I am.
Exactly.
I mean, I've got like my thermostats hooked up to my phone, so that I can be like,
Yep.
look, I don't want to get home and turn it on and then have to wait for the house to cool down or whatever. So just when I leave, I'm gonna turn it on. It's gonna train itself so it knows I'm coming home in 30 minutes, and it will have the damn house cool for me. Look, I mean, we're in that era where we're just like, look, I don't want to deal with anything.
I'm already pissed off.
I just can't even.
Exactly. You lose the ability to even. I'm just pissed off that when you've gone Netflix for like an hour and then it's like, hey, are you still watching? There's no way to voice command that you're still watching. That
still here.
annoys
I'm still
me.
Here. Does it not watch you move? Is it not watching you all
No,
the time?
it's
if
just
it
like
sees you twitch?
it's like a Netflix thing. Like every so many
Oh, yeah,
episodes, Netflix checks in to see if you're still there.
Maybe its
Really
real question
annoys
is,
me.
don't you want to go outside?
Yeah, fuck off Netflix.
Do you remember
I'm still
what
watching
Sky
it.
looks like?
I like it
Screw
like
you.
the like when you play a Wii game or a 3DS game. Some of
Yeah.
them too long, and it's like, you should take a break. And I'm like, don't you tell me what to do. I will manage my breaks.
I adult, you game. Shush. Though, just to be fair, though, about the Kinect, when I say they've stopped selling it for the PC, you can still get a regular Kinect for a Xbox One and hook it up. It just takes an adapter. They were selling a kit that was specific to PC.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it's. I would love to know what anybody on PC uses it for that's not a tool like motion capture.
It's tool. I mean, I think it's a great tool for development of things that are not games. I mean, that's so many people use it for things that are creative and hacked and modded, and the makers out there in the world are using it for things that are really neat. You know, even scanning objects. Basically, anything you could use a depth camera for.
That was actually a really big thing after Kinect came out, and all the for 360, and all the gamers were just like, "I hate this. This is the worst. Nothing's awesome." And someone's like, "Look, I can make it do surgery."
Look what I'm doing with it. I'm saving the world.
Yeah,
like,
and
yeah, but it doesn't track me when I'm dancing.
it doesn't have the finger. It doesn't track
does.
fingers accurately enough.
You're just sucking at your dance moves.
It's true. Dance Central is pretty spot on.
It's great.
Yeah, so I'm actually not that surprised that they do
Canned
it.
it.
Like, look, if you want to get a connector, there's no point manufacturing it at this point.
As a separate box.
It's just
yeah.
so niche.
It's true. Yeah, no, I mean, there's rarely very few people that need it, and a lot of them probably get it through some other organization when they're doing that.
They probably
Some sort
bought
of
them.
shadow organization.
They bought them off of
darknet
the
of-
angry Xbox One gamers.
Of which there are plenty. I'm going to read this real quick. Guys, you might hate shopping, but you still want to look good, right? I would pop a collar if I had one. That's what cool kids do, right? No? All right. What if you could snap your fingers and have a trunk full of clothes that fit perfectly and make you look amazing? You're going to love what gets delivered to you from Trunk Club. At trunkclub.com/thepatch, you answer a few simple questions about your look, style, and size, and they assign a real person who helps to style you. They email you a list of clothes they recommend sending you. You approve, and at no cost to you, they ship a trunk full of fresh new clothes to your door. Try them on, keep what you want, and send back what you don't in their prepaid box. That's it. A better wardrobe than you could ever pick out by yourself in minutes. And did I mention the service is free? Your stylist, the shopping, the box, even the shipping, all 100% free when you go to trunkclub.com/thepatch. Only pay for the clothes you keep. No ongoing subscription, no hidden charges, no malls. Just great clothes handpicked for your style. Gus is loving it. I mean, have you seen how sharp he looks these days?
I love Gus's style.
He's finally
Love
coming
it
along.
now.
I think a lot of that is Esther picking the clothes that are showing up in the trunk.
Fully. I'll let you finish reading.
Well, you're going to thank us. Right now it's completely free, so get started at trunkclub.com/thepatch today. That's trunkclub.com/thepatch.
Yeah, no, we talked yesterday about his blue pants that he wore on the live stream, and how Esther was like, people aren't going to like those pants, and people did like the pants.
We did like the pants.
Yeah.
People are saying there is a way to skip the Netflix thing and just say Xbox Play.
Really? Oh, shit, my life is so significantly different. I literally get that message, like, every night. I've revealed too much about myself and how much I watch Netflix.
So it's
I'm
between
going through Scrubs, okay?
Okay, no, that's understandable. Scrubs is easy to get sucked into.
Scrubs is
Plus
a binge-watchy show, like, straight up.
There's
Oh,
like
yeah.
72 seasons of it. So.
Well, there's 8 seasons or 9 seasons. We're on like season
Is
7.
it only that?
I don't count the last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah.
We're not gonna watch that one. But
I never
Yeah.
did. I binge watched the whole thing, got to that one, and went, nah.
Did they even
the
finish
new
it?
class.
It's over.
Did they even finish that season, or it just kind
I have no
of
clue.
died?
No,
I don't know.
I think they
Somewhere in
did. I'm
there.
sure they
Video
did. Like,
games.
Video games.
Netflix is like tech.
It's on a video
That's
game
true.
console. They're actually going to have there's new tests going on for a what do they call it, over the air connection for
TV
Xbox
tuner.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have to have an external device, but it'll allow you to basically pull in antenna signals in and play it through your Xbox One. So I think you need like a hoppage or hopage TV external antenna, which is like $60 for the connector. But they've already had this program out there in Europe. I don't know how successful it's been, and I don't know how many people really care about over-the-air channels anymore.
I don't even know which channels you get over the air
I think,
anymore.
I think we're busy
Fox.
being really upset that we don't have like HBO Now for 3 months.
Oh, guess what? Ooh, some of us do.
You don't have an Apple TV?
No, I do. I'm just saying like Xbox. If you don't
Oh,
have
okay.
if you don't have iOS, you don't get it.
You don't have an
Yes.
Apple TV, right? Or is it?
It's
you can get it in
it's
browser.
Apple TV. It's iPad, iPhone. Video
I'm laughing because I apparently my posture changes a
Yeah,
lot.
they keep
And
adjusting
they've had to
your
adjust
camera.
the camera like 12 times
Keep
during
adjusting
this.
it.
And I can't help it. I'm just very expressive in my back straightening. Okay, there. I'll just stay right here. I won't move. I promise.
You slouch. You slouch harder than you've ever slouched before.
He says that. I don't know. We'll
This
see
is
if he
actually a
means it.
low position. Maybe I'm maintaining eye level or something. I don't know. This is me down low.
Yes, I'm excited about HBO now, and it came out yesterday. I haven't downloaded it yet, but I fully intend to.
So that's just a service where you can a la carte?
Yeah, it's just HBO, $15 a month if you sign up in the month of April.
Wait, so it's subscription.
Right.
It is.
It's
but it's
subscription a la carte?
Yeah,
It is-
it's just
well, it's-
HBO.
It's subscription without having to get an entire package of TV.
Right.
It's just HBO.
Gotcha. Okay,
Which
so
is
it's
what
the
makes it
channel,
private.
channel.
a la
Yeah.
carte. Okay,
Yes.
not when I heard people talking about being a la carte, I assumed that it was like per show.
No, it's everything that HBO has done or will do. So
Come
you've
on.
got
Wow.
everything they've already done too.
But
So you
just
can get-
original programming.
Just what's on their channel. I mean, come
Well-
on. And you, of course, they're not going to let you buy it show by show. Then no
Yeah,
one would like no one would do it for anything but Game of Thrones, and they
Right.
would make no money.
Oh, come on, they got stuff.
I don't know anything else that's on HBO now.
Do they have other things?
Is Veep on HBO?
They're not a sponsor, are they?
They had hold on, they had The Sopranos that one time.
Well, all right. When they launched.
Sometimes, yeah.
I have no idea.
But Game of Thrones is coming back this Sunday. What?
When does the next episode of the Game of Thrones game come out? Do we know?
Probably a couple weeks at least, because 3 just came out.
I'm kind of shocked by how fast they're pushing that game out the door. I hope
Yeah.
that Tales from the Borderlands goes the same way.
I was really concerned after The Wolf Among Us because there was like a 6-month gap between two of the episodes that it was going to be.
I'm
Like
so
that.
glad I got on that one after it was all out. I got it as part of did that bundle where they were selling all the Telltale games in one lump, which is how I ended up with Game of Thrones. I probably wouldn't have ordered it or bought it otherwise.
You don't watch the show?
I read like the first 4 or 5 books.
There are only 5 books.
How did you read? I read like the first 4 books and I'm not even remotely emotionally invested. How is that a thing?
What do you mean? You just you
were-
mean
yeah,
how
you
am
were
I
like,
not emotionally
you were
invested?
like, I read
I'm
the first
exhausted.
4
I'm
books.
death exhausted. It's
They-
like who do I
they're-
care about in that series?
They're
Don't say-
very what?
Don't say.
I don't
Any
know anybody in
spoilsies.
particular. This has been so long. All I remember
How
is
long ago did you
the
read them?
lasting
must have
impression
been-
that
I'm
no
gonna
one.
Guess, I'm gonna guess you only read 4 because if you read 5, like that hasn't. I mean, it's been out a couple
What
years
was
at this
the
point.
blue one?
I'm muffing
blue
it all
book?
so hard.
Yeah,
I don't know.
there was one with the blue cover.
Since I switched to Kindle, I have no idea what you're
Okay,
talking
that's
about.
Well,
good. I'm not going to reveal any
I
spoilers
don't-
because I
you're
don't even
scaring
remember.
me.
All I remember is that everything bad happens
You
all
sit
the time.
next to Jeff Ramsey and he is the king of revealing spoilers.
He's pretty bad about it.
He's so
And the
bad
game
about
has followed the exact same premise. It's like, hey, do you like somebody? I'm gonna kill him.
That's too bad.
You
Snuff
just
him
watch. You watch as I kill him. In fact, you probably made it happen. I want you to feel that way. I want
Yeah.
you to feel like you're the reason they're dead.
That's why I'm holding off on playing any of the other episodes until it's like the whole what's 5 episodes. I
Yeah.
think the whole 5 is done because I got to the end of the first one and went. And I wanted to get through and like I was actually wanted to replay it and see if I could fix it. It turns out that there's not a way to fix that particular thing, and it's just
It just happened.
I don't feel like it's too much of a spoiler.
So
Say
much
bad
sad.
things happen
Bad
in that
things
game.
happen.
If you're familiar with the source material, bad things happen.
You know, I wonder if Game of Thrones, and honestly the Telltale style of game, and also the, would you call it the rise of visual novels, or is it just that we're suddenly being exposed to them, whereas we
it's-
wouldn't before? But I feel like I see them more.
It's definitely not the rise. I mean, obviously, if Game Club has taught me anything, it's that Japan has been doing it for years.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, Telltale did I want to say they did a Back to the Future
They
game.
did,
along
like,
the
way
way.
back in the
Yeah,
day.
so not even new here.
But yeah, no, I think it's definitely gained a lot more popularity, and it's interesting. It's almost more like a motion graphic novel in the version we have here in the States, whereas it seems like a lot of the
Yeah.
Japanese versions are very almost more like a manga, where it's just static frames and not a lot of animation.
Yeah, I wonder if like that kind of game becoming increasingly popular is going to mean more book to game adaptations.
That's a good question.
That would be interesting.
Because, you know, it's one of those things where books are actually a really difficult thing to adapt, it seems, because, one, they're so dense. There's so much that happens, like, in the space of a book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to get a lot of that in a game where you have to intersperse it with gameplay and do all that sort of stuff. You can't just, like, throw that sort of exposition at them the whole time.
It seems like the route that takes, though, is it's book to movie to game. It goes through the movie, which kind of narrows the focus of which is never. I mean, I've never been happy with that necessarily, but the movie's like, oh yeah, no, these characters were, they were rich, developed characters in the book, but now they're it's sort of a stereotype, just so you'll get it in the 20 minutes that we have to explain who it is. And then the game version comes out after that, and it's like,
I want to believe it. That means that since Five Nights at Freddy's is getting a movie and it's going game to movie, that it will get a novelization. Like, it'll go game
backwards.
to movie to book.
oh, that's an interesting idea.
A series of novels.
They usually make a book version of movies, right? So they'll be based on the hit movie, based on the hit game.
Well, and there are a lot of novelizations of games too. Like there's the Halo, or not. I mean, they're not straight novelizations of the individual games, but in universe, there's the Halo games. I don't know how many of the Star Wars books tied into the game part of that universe. Before it all went anyway.
Yeah.
There were. Did the Baldur's Gate books come before the Baldur's Gate games?
I didn't know there was a Baldur's Gate book.
I thought it was a series of like a Forgotten Realms books.
I think it may be part of the Forgotten Realms.
I remember
umbrella, I guess.
Back when bookstores existed.
Yeah.
So long ago.
There's still one.
They had like an entire shelf that would just be Forgotten Realms, and I would look at it and be like, "Oh, so intimidated right now."
Like, where do you start?
Exactly.
And then they had a free Audible.com had a free audiobook that was just like a compilation of the tales of Drizzt, which, by the way, don't bother.
That guy,
not good.
That guy, he's the guy who wrote Kingdoms of Amalur.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
The guy that the writer of
the writer, not Drizzt didn't write anything.
Was it R.A.
Salvatore?
Yeah, so Salvatore.
I'm assuming so. There's an E on the end. I think of him, like a Guillermo del Toro. I'm just like, pronounce it right.
And that's
pronounce it with spirit and maybe a little bit of the hand thing.
Yeah. A little bit of the hand thing.
When I say it's not good though, I meant specifically like that collection was of like short stories and in-betweens from like the major books. I haven't read the major
crap
books.
You don't care about.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right,
it was like
it's filling holes that you didn't know existed.
Also, Ice-T
a lot of
narrated
people
one.
pay good money for that.
Not good.
To fill in the holes
that you didn't even know existed.
Imaginary holes.
But there's some games that never got movies that I would love to see. Like, did you ever read the Takeshi Kovacs books?
Elaborate. I'm not sure which ones.
So it's this very short series of they're like cyberpunk. It's like gritty noir. It's like crime solving, but also like a lot of action, and it seems perfectly suited to a video game, not necessarily a Telltale style, but certainly a video game. Actually, I was thinking it after watching the Deus Ex trailer, because in it, you're like you are like you're a stack in the spine, and so you can switch bodies. They just take your stack out and they put it in another body, and it could be a real body or it could be a synthetic body.
Kind of like Ghost of the Machine.
Yeah, and so it's like that sort of thing. I think that's perfect for a game.
Yeah, you've told me about it before. It sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, I talk about it a lot.
I'm
a big fan of these books.
Oh,
I'm always looking for new books. That sounds interesting.
And then I love the idea of finding some way to take like Terry Pratchett's Discworld.
Oh yeah,
and make a successful. There's been a game of that before. I know, a Discworld. I think it was an adventure game but it would be so amazing to find some way to bring that sort of world intact into games. Because I mean, one of the big challenges is that Discworld all of Pratchett's work really relies so heavily on wordplay. That it's like a lot of that can get lost. Like there were a couple of TV series they did.
They're still
miniseries or TV movies or whatever on like the making money sort of con man sub stories, but it seems like it'd be like a perfect like text based like point and click adventure game. Did you guys ever play Zork Grand Inquisitor?
Mm-mm.
Oh man! So it was I want to say it was the second graphical Zork game that they did. So they did Zork Nemesis, and I think that was the first one that wasn't a text based adventure. And they did Grand Inquisitor, which was ridiculous. It was like the height of. Well, maybe not the hype, but it was definitely like when FMV was popular. And so to be an adventure game with all this ridiculous stuff, like this holy sugar cube, and there was a spell to turn purple things invisible, and at some point you switch things around so it turns invisible things purple, and that's like a spell that you have. And you had you get spells from the inside of like candy wrappers, like really ridiculous stuff. It's just bizarre and crazy.
Well, irreverent is fun though.
Yeah. But so it can be done to have that sort of crazy off the wall fun world, I'd love to see if there's a way to do that with Discworld. I want to play in it.
Here's what scares me about that. So are you either of you familiar with the Wheel of Time series of books by Robert Jordan?
Yes.
There was a Wheel of Time game.
I remember that actually.
Not good. It was not great. I mean,
Well, yeah.
it was basically it was like a FPS.
That was
Well,
also so long ago, though.
And by S, I mean first person spell slinger.
Oh.
Hey, I made it work. But it was, yeah, I mean, they tried, but there have been a couple, I can think of a couple well, actually, So I don't know how you'd classify it, but MechWarrior and Shadowrun were, I guess, role-playing games. So they were game to book to game was their path into the video game realm. Though I guess you could argue that they just went role-playing game to video game, and cut out the book middleman altogether.
Oh, look. Check it out. I always get surprised when something rolls behind one of us and we're like, what?
Yeah, this is the Wheel of Time game. It was, I think, on the Unreal Engine.
Let me look this up.
Heads
that
up
came
that
out-
we are pretty much out of time.
Yeah, we are.
Nah.
Gus isn't here. Go!
So the Wheel of Time game came out in 1999. So look,
Yeah. That was the year I graduated.
We've had
high school.
Aww.
I'm that old.
No wonder you don't know Wienerville. Sorry.
I mean, we've had 15, 16 years beyond that to develop new formats for games. I think that
True.
Telltale is one of those that's like. Can you imagine, like, in 1999, I probably would have not sat through an interactive storybook. Mm-hmm. I would have been like, where is Riven? This doesn't have enough discs. But, that was weird.
It's my stick, so I'm going to throw it out there again. I can guarantee you're going to see a lot of fan-based stuff, and then eventually maybe production stuff for the Discworld, things like that, brought into VR. Just because people, exactly what you're talking about, want to have the experience of being in that world. And that's what everybody's looking for right now is where can we plunk you that will sell you a VR headset? So that'll...
You know what's really going to do that, honestly, is like Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah. I mean, even I've seen Sword Art Online recreations.
Yes, that is what people want the VR. I would absolutely get a VR headset for
It's
Sword Art
not
Online.
very far along.
Okay,
so
but
far.
I mean eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually,
And,
I
it's,
totally
and
do
especially if they can make it so it kills you if you die in game.
Right.
100% commitment.
I would
It's
see
the
if that were a
hardcore mode.
$100 add-on, I would get it.
That's the hardcore mode. It's unlocked after you beat all the regular levels.
You just get locked in. You actually can't unlock it, just like in Sword Art. You just get locked in. Thank you all for joining us.
All right, we're going to switch over to Game Club. This week we're talking about Limbo, but we're also taking suggestions for next week and beyond. So leave us your suggestions in the comments for this video, and let us know what you think about Limbo, too.
Yeah. And thanks for joining us. Join us Monday for our regular RT podcast.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.